Welcome to Wisdom Unveiled. We're diving deep again, aren't we? Straight into the world of Hafez Shirazi.
We are. It's always quite the journey with Hafez. This time, it's our 11th exploration,
11th, right. And we're drawing, just to remind everyone, exclusively from those fantastic conversations with Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani on refat.
That's the source material, rich dialogues.
Absolutely. Now, just a quick heads up, as always, these talks were originally in Persian. We've translated them, aiming for real precision. But language has its nuances, right?
Yeah.
So slight variations might pop up. Just something to keep in mind.
Perfectly understandable. Translation is always an art. But the essence, the core ideas of Hafez, they tend to shine through.
They really do. So today our mission, our deep dive, is focused on the very start of one particular ghazal.
Just the opening line to begin with.
Exactly. It goes, hey, which roughly translates to, oh, cupbearer, fill the cup with wine. The celestial sphere has no pause. Hasten.
Seems simple on the surface, doesn't it? A call for wine at dawn.
Right. But we know with Hafez, it's never just that. So let's unpack it, starting with that first word.
Ray. Sab. Morning.
Morning. Dawn. The start of the day. Literally, yes. But Dr. Larijani offers a much richer take on it in Hafez's context.
Which is?
Well, it's not just the sun coming up. It's seen as this moment, this potential for awakening. Waking up from, the darkness of ignorance, of neglect within ourselves.
Like a spiritual sunrise.
Exactly. A window opening up, a glimpse of spiritual possibility. But the thing is, Dr. Larijani emphasizes, it's fleeting.
Fleeting, so you have to grab it.
You have to seize it. It demands, attention, action.
Okay, so not just physical dawn, but an inner dawning. That makes sense. And that leads right into saqi, the cupbearer.
The cupbearer, yes. The one who serves the drink, literally.
But symbolically, Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani definitely see more there.
Oh, much more. The cupbearer isn't just pouring wine. They're quenching a deeper thirst, a thirst for knowledge, for understanding. So they're getting rid of the ignorance.
Precisely. Dispelling the intoxication of ignorance, you could say. They offer the wine of Gnosis.
Wine of Gnosis. I like that. So the cupbearer is like a guide, a teacher.
Could be. Someone who facilitates that spiritual illumination. It makes you think, doesn't it? Who are the cupbearers in our own lives?
That's a deep question. Okay, so this cupbearer offers something transformative. And the specific request, you could fill the cup with wine.
Fill it up.
Hafez and his wine imagery.
Ah.
It's constant. But we're definitely not talking about, Chardonnay here, are we?
Not at all, no. Both Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani are very clear on this. The wine for Hafez is symbolic, deeply symbolic.
Representing what exactly?
Divine knowledge, spiritual insight, love, that kind of intoxication. It's about ecstasy, but a spiritual one, not just earthly pleasure.
Got it. And he asks for a full cup, not just a sip. Why the emphasis on full?
Well, that amplifies the urgency, doesn't it? And the desire to fully embrace this spiritual moment this morning.
Like, don't hold back.
Exactly. A small taste isn't enough. It suggests the spiritual thirst is profound. And, with real knowledge, you never feel completely full, do you?
It's true. The more you learn, the more you realize there is to learn.
Right. So one cup, it just makes you want more. It deepens the thirst in a way.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Then we hit the end of the line. Wikio said, hey, the celestial sphere has no pause. Hasten.
Boom. The sense of time crashing in.
Right. And this relates to how they saw the cosmos back then.
Yes, absolutely. We need to remember their context, the Ptolemaic system where time was fundamentally linked to the movement of the heavens, the spheres.
So no pause. Hiosi means time literally doesn't stop. It just keeps rolling.
Unyielding, constant motion. It highlights how transient everything is. Opportunity, life itself. It's all moving, passing.
It sounds a bit like Omar Khayyam sees the day.
Exactly. Dr. Larijani actually makes that direct connection. It's that same powerful feeling. The present moment is incredibly precious and incredibly fleeting.
So hasten au Calais isn't just a suggestion, it's an imperative.
It's a command. Act now. Take advantage of the spiritual opening before it's gone. Don't delay.
And this idea of moments passing, never to return, Dr. Dinani mentioned a philosophical concept.
Yes, Yade madam. It's a fascinating point he brings up. Roughly, the return of the non-existent.
Meaning?
Meaning, once a moment is gone, It's gone forever. It becomes non-existent, and it cannot be brought back. It underscores just how infinitely precious the now is.
Wow. So you can't get yesterday back.
Never. Now, Dr. Dinani does contrast this with a later idea, Mulla Sadra's harakat-e-johari, substantial motion. This idea that the essence of things is always changing, always in motion.
A different view of change.
A different, maybe more dynamic view of reality's core. But he clarifies that Hafez, here in this line, seems closer to that older view. Time passes relentlessly, linked to the spheres, and moments lost are lost. The message is clear. Hurry.
It definitely adds weight to hasten. Okay, let's shift slightly to another key word that comes up. Kharab. Ruined. Or maybe intoxicated. It seems crucial.
It really is a very powerful, multi-layered word in Hafez. Dr. Dinani digs into its dual nature.
Dual nature. How so?
Well, on one hand, Kharab refers to the inevitable decay, the ruin that time brings to the physical world. You know, Kharab, or Ka, the transient world, becomes ruined, everything falls apart eventually.
The natural entropy of things.
Right. But then there's this other kind of Kharab, a spiritual ruin that the mystic actively seeks. It's a state of being overwhelmed, ruined by divine love, by that wine of Gnosis. Like in the line, Alkagia Atje, ruin us with the rosy wine.
So getting ruined can be desirable. That sounds paradoxical.
It is. That's the beauty of it. Dr. Dinani makes this distinction. There's the ruin the world inflicts, which is just decay. And then there's the ruin God brings, which is actually constructive.
Constructive ruin. How does that work?
He calls it a case karababad, a ruin that builds the rosy wine that divine knowledge helps bring about this constructive ruin. It dismantles the ego.
Breaking down the self, worldly attachments.
Exactly. It ruins your attachment to the trivial, the ephemeral, the limiting parts of yourself. It clears the ground for spiritual growth.
And this ties into the Sufi idea of the Ikes Karabat, the Tavern of Ruin.
Precisely. Dr. Dinani explains this really well, drawing on Sheikh Mahmud Shib's story. The Karabat isn't just a dive bar.
Right.
Symbolically, it's the place where you go to deliberately break free. Free from meaningless rules, customs, desires, attachments, all the chains that bind the soul.
So it's a place of liberation.
Yes. Shabastari apparently called it the abode of the bird of the soul, the abode of the placeless. It's beyond ordinary constraints. So becoming Karab, in this Sufi sense, means achieving inner freedom. It's a kind of surrender that leads to flourishing.
It's like tearing down an old shaky building to build something magnificent on the same spot.
That's a great analogy. Intentional dismantling for a higher purpose.
Okay, that reframes ruin completely. Now let's look at the second couplet, the second bait. Eños anquejo. And I thought, yo injos sanguerano finia ichahei.
Beautiful imagery again.
The sun of wine rose from the east of the cup. If you seek the leaf of eternal life, abandon sleep. Let's start with the first part. The sun of wine rose from the east of the cup.
Koshiremi, the sun of wine. So this wine, this knowledge we talked about, it's not just intoxicating, it's luminous, radiant, like the sun itself.
And it rises from the east of the cup, Mashrak Sagar. What's the significance of the east here?
Well, the cup itself is the immediate source, right? But the east. Dr. Dinani suggests this could be an allusion, perhaps, to the east as the traditional source of wisdom, of spiritual light.
Like geographically east, or symbolically.
He connects it to Sohravardi's work, The Tale of Western Exile, Kasat al-Ghorbat al-Gharbia. In that tradition, the West can represent spiritual alienation, distance from the source, while the East is where the light originates.
I see. So it has that philosophical resonance.
It does. While Sohravardi might be primarily spiritual or symbolic, you can't ignore the historical fact that many major spiritual traditions did arise in the geographical East. Hafez might be tapping into that whole complex of ideas. The light comes from the East, rising within the cup.
That adds a whole other dimension.
Okay.
Then we have a Bargiish, the leaf of eternal life. What's that about?
Bargiish. It points towards, well, true life, everlasting life, an existence that isn't subject to that decay, that Karab we talked about earlier.
And how do you get this leaf?
Through knowledge, through spiritual awakening. That's the path to a life that truly endures, beyond just the physical. It's about finding real, meaningful existence.
Which leads directly to the final command of the couplet. Enyese Tarki Kabkan. Abandon sleep.
Right, and again, clearly not literal sleep.
No, it's the sleep of what?
Ignorance.
Ignorance, negligence, unawareness. That state of just drifting through life without deeper consciousness. Hafez is saying, wake up
Wake up to what?
to this reality, to the need for knowledge, for contemplation. True life, that bargi aish, isn't found while you're spiritually asleep. It reminds me of that hadith.
Which one?
Anasun yamun idha matuin tabahu. People are asleep, and when they die, they awaken.
Ah, so Hafez is urging us to wake up before death.
Exactly. Wake up now, live consciously, engage spiritually. Don't wait for death to force the awakening.
Wow. So just in these first 2 lines, Hafez has woven together. Let's see. Seizing the moment, the power of divine knowledge, breaking free from limitations through ruin, and the call to awaken to true eternal life. It's incredible, isn't it? Such density of meaning in such elegant, seemingly simple verse. He lays out a whole spiritual path.
Urgency, transformation, liberation, awakening. It's all there.
A masterclass, really, in poetic and mystical expression.
Okay, so let's try and pull the main threads together as we wrap up this dive.
Good idea.
We saw the morning wasn't just dawn, but a spiritual opening, right? A chance.
A fleeting chance, yes. And the wine is that divine knowledge, that love, that insight offered by the cupbearer.
And the urgency comes from the celestial sphere has no pause. Time is running out, so hasten.
Absolutely. And the concept of karab, ruin, having that double meaning, worldly decay, which is inevitable.
And the constructive spiritual ruin, the karaba, which is about liberation, breaking down the ego.
Precisely. Which leads to the second couplet, where the sun of wine, that radiant knowledge, rises from the east of the cup.
Hinting at the source of wisdom. And the goal is the leaf of eternal life.
Which you find by abandoning sleep, waking up from ignorance and negligence.
It all connects so beautifully.
It really does. The enduring power of Hafez. These ideas, they still resonate so strongly today.
They absolutely do. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought maybe for everyone listening. Thinking about those mornings in our own lives. You know, those moments of clarity. Or maybe just a sudden feeling, a spiritual nudge.
Ah, those fleeting moments of potential awakening.
Yeah. The question is, how do we actually seize them? How do we make sure we drink that wine of deeper understanding when it's offered?
And how do we embrace that necessary constructive ruin, letting go of the things that hold us back?
Right. To move towards that genuine awakening Hafez talks about. It's an ongoing process, isn't it?
Definitely. Perhaps it just starts with noticing. Noticing those moments of inner dawn.